Days passed without any sign of Seals or Goku. The loss drove Marcarita into a deep depression. Her heart was shattered. She did not know what to do anymore. Feelings of anger and resentment pushed her into a fragile state of mind. She desperately needed Goku. On the planet of Goku in Universe 13, Marcarita lay on the ground. She called out to him. She wept bitterly. The despair of her helplessness crushed her. She screamed in anger. She asked herself what she could possibly do. Whis grew worried about his sister. He decided to visit her. The sight of her filled him with shock and deep sadness. Marcarita sat at a table surrounded by empty alcohol bottles. She had been drinking to numb her immense pain. Whis asked her what she was doing. He snatched a bottle from her hand and threw it to the floor. A drunken Marcarita told him to leave her alone and stay out of it. Whis angrily told her to be quiet. He said he cared about her, and that seeing her like this broke his heart. Marcarita began to cry. She begged him to leave her in peace. She said the pain was killing her. Whis felt a surge of sadness. He approached his sister and pulled her into a warm embrace. He told her to calm down. Marcarita sobbed. She said she could not go on. Life without Goku had no meaning. Her entire existence was ruined because of that wretched woman. Whis encouraged her to think. He believed they must have missed a clue. Marcarita said she had thought of everything and nothing could fix her problem. Whis asked if she was absolutely sure. Marcarita cried as she replayed everything in her mind. Suddenly a realization hit her. She called herself a fool. Whis asked what she meant. Marcarita explained that her tears had blinded her to an obvious solution. Whis pressed her for details. Her voice turned cold as she spoke a single name. Vermaud. Whis asked if she was truly certain she wanted to kill him. Marcarita confirmed her intentions. She added that she planned to play with him first. Whis realized he could not stop her. Marcarita agreed and asked him to leave. Whis told his sister to be careful. He flew away from the planet and headed back to Universe 7. He silently hoped everything would work out for her. Marcarita then blasted off toward Universe 11 at blinding speed. She promised Vermaud that this would be fun. A few hours later on the planet of the God of Destruction of Universe 11, Vermaud muttered to himself. He was annoyed that Seals had kept Goku. He doubted Marcarita would ever return to him. He ordered his attendant angel to bring him more food. The angel bowed and agreed. Just as the angel turned to leave the Grand Hall, a commotion echoed from the entrance. Vermaud demanded to know what was happening. He looked up and saw Marcarita. Her face was flushed. She swayed heavily as if completely intoxicated. She marched toward Vermaud. She grabbed the attendant angel by the neck. She demanded to know where Vermaud was. The nervous angel pointed right at the God of Destruction. Marcarita glared at the angel with menacing eyes. She ordered him to leave and not interrupt them. The terrified angel quickly agreed and fled the hall. Vermaud and Marcarita were left alone. Tears welled up in her eyes as she called his name. Vermaud smiled. He said he knew she would come back to him. Marcarita stumbled forward and threw herself into his arms. She cried into his chest. She claimed Goku had lied to her. She said the warrior had used her and abandoned her for that awful Seals. Vermaud comforted her. He told his beautiful Marcarita not to cry over an ignorant ape. He promised she would always be happy by his side. Marcarita asked if he was telling the truth. She asked if he would treat her well and make her happy. Vermaud assured her it was true. Marcarita lamented leaving his side. She called herself a fool for ever walking away. Vermaud held her tight and promised to take care of her. Marcarita fell asleep in his embrace. Vermaud could barely hide his laughter. His plan was working perfectly. He finally had the woman he desired all to himself. The moment was perfect and he kept up his gentle act to avoid ruining it. Several minutes passed. Marcarita woke up in the arms of Vermaud. He looked down at her with a wide smile. He asked how she slept. Marcarita replied that she slept like a true princess. Vermaud told her he would always ensure her happiness and give her anything she wanted. She asked if he meant it. He confirmed he did. Marcarita stood up. Her expression shifted into a deadly glare. She declared that she wanted the revenge her heart desired. Vermaud asked what she meant. Marcarita stated she wanted Goku and Seals to pay for everything. She wanted to kill them with her own hands. Vermaud thought to himself that he would have to break his promise to Seals. He agreed to help Marcarita. She asked if he knew where they were hiding. Vermaud revealed they were in his universe. They were hiding on an isolated planet. He had allowed Seals to stay because she claimed it was an order from Grand Zeno. Marcarita smiled. She asked if he would assist her. Vermaud said of course. He gave her the exact coordinates of Seals. Marcarita was overjoyed. She had gotten exactly what she came for. Vermaud then asked for his reward. Marcarita agreed. Vermaud leaned in slowly to kiss her. Marcarita told him to close his eyes first. He said he would do anything for her. She asked if he meant it. He told her never to doubt him. Vermaud closed his eyes and leaned closer. Marcarita smiled wickedly. She whispered that she wanted his miserable life. In a blur of motion, Marcarita pierced the heart of Vermaud with a blade of energy. His eyes shot open. He coughed up blood. He asked how she could do this. Marcarita mocked him for believing her act. She called him a fool. She explained her only goal was finding seals so she could take back Goku and end the life of her rival. Vermaud weakly cursed her with his final breath. Marcarita bid him farewell. With a single swing of her arm, she sliced Vermaud apart. He died instantly. She looked down at his remains with absolute disgust. She noted that one target was down, and only seals remained. Marcarita flew out of the castle at top speed. She headed straight for seals. She did not care about anything anymore. She would kill anyone and make any sacrifice to be with the love of her life. She promised seals she would soon learn what she was truly capable of. Marcarita vanished into the dark void of Universe 11. She radiated a suffocating bloodlust that would not fade until Seals was a corpse. Somewhere in Universe 11, Seals sat on a balcony sipping tea. She looked up at the sky. Goku stood right beside her. He was nothing but a mindless puppet now. He blindly followed her every command. Seals blushed and asked her love if the view was beautiful. Goku replied formally that it was exactly as she said. Seals pouted slightly. She told him to drop the formalities and just call her Seals. Goku agreed mechanically. Seals stood up and approached him. She kissed him passionately. Goku stood completely still. He showed no emotion or reaction whatsoever. He was completely under her control. Seals blushed and admitted this was not exactly the life she expected. But she could not complain. She had everything she wanted, including the man she loved. Goku agreed blankly. Seals smiled warmly with a sickly obsession painted across her flushed face. Hours passed. Seals walked arm in arm with Goku through a massive garden on their new estate. She asked him if the flowers were beautiful. Goku replied that if they were beautiful to her, they were beautiful to him. Seals smiled and told him he earned a kiss for that good answer. She leaned in toward his face. Suddenly, a blinding light crashed down from the sky. A deafening explosion shook the ground. Seals grew furious. She demanded to know who had ruined her garden. The dust cleared from the massive crater. A dark shadow wrapped in a sinister aura slowly stepped forward. Seals panicked. She could not believe Marcarita had found them. Marcarita stared at her coldly. She declared she had come to take back what was stolen from her. Seals screamed for Goku to protect her. She yelled that Marcarita was trying to kill her. Goku instantly jumped in front of Seals and took a fighting stance. Seals ordered him to finish her. Goku agreed. He charged forward while Marcarita simply stood still. Seals cheered and told Goku to kill the angel. Goku transformed into his blue form. He landed a devastating punch squarely on the face of Marcarita. Seals laughed maniacally. She yelled at him to kill the wretched woman. Goku launched a relentless barrage of strikes. Marcarita did absolutely nothing to defend herself. She just took every hit. Seals screamed for him to keep going. After several minutes, Goku stopped his assault. He jumped back and returned to Seals. She praised him and assumed Marcarita was mostly dead. Her insane laughter echoed through the garden, but her smile vanished when the dust settled. Marcarita stood there without a single scratch on her body. Seals gasped in pure terror. Marcarita reminded her that she was an angel. She told Seals she had severely underestimated her. Marcarita lunged at Seals. The frightened woman begged Goku not to let the angel hurt her. Goku moved to intercept the attack. Marcarita apologized silently. She struck Goku hard on the back of his neck. Then she drove her staff straight through his shoulder. She pinned the warrior tightly to the ground. Seals screamed and asked what she had done to him. Marcarita ignored her. She slowly turned her head to face Seals. Tears streamed down the face of Marcarita. She cried that this was all the fault of Seals. She had to hurt her own husband because of her. She promised Seals she would not leave this planet alive. Marcarita dashed forward. She delivered a brutal strike that knocked Seals completely unconscious. Hours passed. Seals slowly opened her eyes. Her head pounded. She had no idea where she was. She looked around the unfamiliar environment. It was a cold, dark room. She thought she was alone until her eyes locked onto her worst nightmare. Marcarita greeted her. Seals widened her eyes in terror. She tried to run, but it was useless. Her limbs were bound by heavy, unbreakable metal chains. No matter how hard she struggled, she could not escape. Seals screamed for Goku to save her. She yelled that the crazy woman was going to kill her. Marcarita calmly told her to scream all she wanted. She smiled and said Goku was not coming. It was just the two of them now. Marcarita promised they would have plenty of fun. Seals felt an indescribable, unimaginable fear. She knew she was doomed. Marcarita told her not to lose hope so soon. She wanted Seals to stay strong so they could play with her new toys. Seals noticed a table covered with a black cloth next to the angel. She nervously asked what was on it. Marcarita smiled and said it was time to play. She pulled away the cloth. The table was covered in sharp objects. There were knives and saws and axes and spiked whips. Seeing the torture instruments made Seals tremble violently. She screamed for help. She cried out for Goku. Marcarita simply smiled. She picked up a knife. With the chilling grin of a true psychopath, she slowly approached the weeping woman. Soon after, only agonizing screams echoed from outside the dark room. They were joined by the macabre laughter of Marcarita. She was truly enjoying her work. Marcarita told Seals to reveal the exact wish she made. She promised the game would end once she confessed. Seals screamed that she would never tell her. Marcarita frowned in anger. She sliced off the left pinky finger of Seals as easily as cutting a carrot. Seals let out an ear-piercing shriek. Marcarita demanded the wish again. Seals swore she would rather die. Marcarita smiled and promised she would never let her die. They would play for all eternity. The screams were endless. Marcarita relished the suffering. Seals deeply regretted crossing the angel. But despite the agony, she refused to reveal the wish. She preferred death over seeing Goku in the arms of Marcarita again. Days went by. Marcarita happily walked across the planet. She wore a sweet smile, but her clothes were drenched in fresh blood. Seals refused to break. The torture continued without end. Marcarita inflicted unimaginable pain every day. Then she would heal Seals at night just to make the torment infinite. The heavy doors swung open. Marcarita stepped inside with a terrifying smile. She cheerfully greeted her friend and announced the start of a new day. Seals trembled. She begged for it to stop. She pleaded for Marcarita to just kill her. Fear gripped every inch of her body. Marcarita smiled and told her to just reveal the wish. Seals lowered her head and clenched her fists. She swore Marcarita would never have him. She raised her voice and declared Goku belonged only to her. They were destined to be together. Marcarita sighed. She stepped closer and smiled. She announced that they would just keep playing. Horrific screams once again filled the halls. The screams were accompanied by the laughter of someone who had completely lost her mind. Hours passed, and the screaming finally stopped. Marcarita smiled and said she had a lot of fun. She promised to return at the exact same time tomorrow. Seals shook violently and sobbed. She begged the empty room for help. Marcarita locked the door and walked slowly down the hall. Her dress was dyed red once again. She hummed a sweet melody as she walked to a secluded room far away from the dungeon. She entered the room and sighed. She told Goku she was back, but there was no progress today. Goku lay on a bed. His wrists and ankles were bound by heavy chains. Marcarita told him it hurt to see him like this, but she knew he would go looking for Seals if she let him go. Goku weakly asked where his master was. Marcarita approached him and stroked his head. She promised to free him from the curse very soon. She prepared a large plate of food and tried to feed him. Goku ate small bites purely out of basic survival instinct. Marcarita urged him to eat more so he would not get sick. Goku asked to see Seals again. Hearing this broke the heart of Marcarita. She lay down beside him and held him tightly. She told him those words felt like a knife in her chest. She gave him a gentle kiss on the lips and left the room. Night fell on the planet. Marcarita walked slowly under the light of 2 moons. She thought about her failure. Seals refused to speak no matter how much pain she endured. Marcarita approached a nearby lake and fell to her knees. She felt like she was going crazy. Her mind could no longer handle the stress. Even though Seals deserved the pain, the torture had turned Marcarita into a monster. She did not want to do this anymore. Tears streamed down her face. She realized she would lose the last shred of her sanity if this continued. If she lost herself, then Seals would win. Marcarita took a deep breath and sat down. She told herself to stay strong. She was the wife of Goku and he would not want to see her consumed by evil. She vowed to find another way to save him. She closed her eyes. Suddenly she found herself standing in an endless dark void. She asked aloud what this place was. Heavy chains suddenly materialized and wrapped tightly around her body. She was completely immobilized. She wondered if this was the doing of Seals. She struggled but could not break free. A voice echoed from the darkness. It called her useless. The voice mocked her for failing to get Goku back. The voice declared it was taking over. Marcarita demanded the stranger reveal herself. The voice laughed. It told Marcarita she failed because she was weak. The voice promised to bring Goku back in its own way. A figure stepped out of the shadows. Marcarita was left speechless. The figure looked exactly like her. The dark duplicate declared the real game was finally starting. The evil entity grabbed the chin of Marcarita. The duplicate stared at her, with eyes full of pure malice, and an arrogant smirk. Marcarita asked in panic what was happening. Back in the physical world, Marcarita opened her eyes and stood up. She smiled a twisted smile. She announced she would be the one to stay with Goku for all eternity. Her entire presence shifted. The pure and gentle angel was completely gone. She was replaced by a being of pure hatred and malice. She would claim the love of the warrior no matter the cost. Down in the dungeon, Seals continued to weep. She wanted the pain to end, but she would never surrender her love. She swore she would never give him up. A dark voice agreed from the doorway. The heavy doors shattered into pieces. Marcarita stepped through the ruins, but she was not alone. Seals panicked and asked what she had done. Marcarita wore a massive twisted grin. In her right hand she held Goku by his throat. His body was covered in severe injuries. Marcarita smiled and offered Seals one final chance. She demanded to know the wish, or she would kill her beloved warrior right in front of her. Marcarita formed an energy blade and pressed it against the neck of Goku. Seals trembled in absolute horror. She asked the monster who she really was. Marcarita laughed. She claimed she simply lost her mind. She declared that if Goku could not be with her, then he would not be with anyone. Marcarita pressed the blade slightly. The neck of Goku began to bleed. Seals screamed for her to stop. She could not bear to watch him die. Marcarita grinned. She admitted she would gladly kill him just to watch Seals suffer. She demanded the wish one last time. Seals broke down completely. The physical torture and psychological abuse were nothing compared to seeing Goku murdered. She cried hysterically, and begged Marcarita to let him go. She agreed to tell her everything as long as he lived. Marcarita smiled and sighed in relief. She bound Goku in energy chains, and tossed him aside. She ordered Seals to speak. Seals sobbed, and confessed her wish. She had wished for Goku to always love her. If his love ever faded, he would fall in love with her all over again. If anyone tried to make him hate her, the cycle would just reset. He was forced to love her endlessly. Marcarita praised her cleverness. Seals begged her to leave Goku alone. Marcarita agreed that keeping Seals alive was no longer necessary. In a blinding flash of movement, Marcarita decapitated Seals. Blood sprayed across the entire room. Marcarita picked up the severed head. She stared at it and laughed uncontrollably. She mocked her weaker half for being so useless. She was glad she took control. Marcarita quickly summoned the magic dragon with her staff. Whis had given the wishing orbs to her earlier. She summoned Purunga. The massive dragon asked for her desire. Marcarita ordered him to undo the wish of Seals. Purunga granted it. He stated she had 2 wishes left. Marcarita asked the dragon to make her and Goku completely undetectable to the Grand Priest. Purunga roared. His eyes glowed intensely. He announced the wish was very difficult and would consume both remaining wishes. Marcarita did not care. She just wanted it done. Purunga fulfilled the request and vanished. The orbs shot into the sky. Marcarita used her immense speed to catch all the stone spheres before they scattered. She kept them for the future. She turned her attention to Goku. She blushed as she looked at him. She promised him that he was finally himself again. She vowed to make sure no one could ever separate them again. She would kill anyone who tried. She hugged the unconscious warrior tightly. Deep inside her subconscious, the sweet and kind Marcarita fought desperately to escape her eternal prison. But back in reality, the dark Marcarita smiled a sinister smile. She declared that neither the Grand Priest nor Grand Zeno would ever tear them apart. She did not care about their power. She would eliminate the difference and destroy anyone in her way. She smiled darkly as she plotted her next move. Will Marcarita enact her dark plan and wage war against the gods themselves? Find out in the next part.